And we're back with some more Road to Glory with Rimouski. And in this one, we're going to be starting out with a trade because I wanted to shop around Zachary Gravel. He has not been doing great this season. As a matter of fact, only 8 points in 26 games played, 52 grade, and he's on the fourth line, so he's not getting much time as it is. He's not playing where I expected him to play, because when I signed him, I was expecting that he would play in the top 6, but that is not the case. I think we're going to be sending him back to Victoriaville because he was with Victoriaville last year, and it turns out Victoriaville wants him, and for a pretty significant package as well. A first-round pick for Zachary Gravel going back to Victoriaville, and I didn't even offer this trade out. It was them who offered this trade. So, you know what? I'm going to take this first round pick and not look back. Thank you very much, Victoriaville. And for them, they're 13, 21, and 2, so they're kind of terrible right now. But in fairness, there's no way they can miss the playoffs. So there's always a chance that for them, reacquiring Zachary Gravel could help them become a better team. Because as we take a look at their record last year, they actually were not a bad team last year. 32, 28, and 8, and he was obviously a part of that team. And they made the playoffs. I mean, that's a given. As we take a look at their stats from last year, he was 4th on their team in scoring. So he's a good player. He just wasn't on the right team because for our team, he was buried on the 4th line for the majority of the time that he's been here. So with that out of the way, let's get hopefully the rest of the season finished in this video. A quick update on the standings. We're currently 18, 16, and 2, 38 points in 36 games played. So I'm pretty confident that we'll make the playoffs at this point, given how bad Charlottetown and Chicoutimi are. But we still do have a ways to go as far as improvement goes. So hopefully getting rid of Gravel helps that because, like I said, he was not doing well at all. And that will make space for someone like Tremblay or Gaudet to get in there and, hopefully they simulate better. Although I just realized we are only a week away from the trade deadline, so I suppose if there's any more trades that we have to make, we should probably do them now. Yeah, I don't think there's much that I can do in terms of acquiring skilled players that would be reasonable to trade for because every player that I am interested in trading for is just going to cost way too much, and I mean way too much. So I think we're going to advance ahead of the trade deadline and we'll just see where the rest of the season takes us into the playoffs. And just like that, we are at the end of the regular season and we are in the playoffs indeed, but we are in 8th in the conference. We scored 235 goals. We also let up 235 goals. So we were an even 0 on the season. And oh dear, Chicoutimi, negative 148 in the goal differential. That is quite something. I have never seen that before. So as we take a look at our player stats for the season, so Julien Bourget with 68 points in 68 games played. He was, I would say, our best player on the season for sure. 70 grade as well. So he had a really fantastic season. He did exactly what I expected him. I would say that trade for him was definitely worth it. As for Matej Kostlik, another one of our offseason acquisitions, 59 points in 68 games played. Unfortunately, he is 20 years old, so it looks like this is his last season with us, his first and only season. But nonetheless, he did do very well with us. He was a big question mark going into the season as well, because the previous season only had 28 points in 55 games, but he really stepped it up big time for 59 points in 68 games played. Vasily Shumilov, he was one of our CHL import draft picks from this past season. Managed to get 43 points on the back end. So definitely our best offensive defenseman. I wouldn't compare him to the likes of Isaac Beliveau, considering he's not very good defensively, I don't believe. But nonetheless, he was pretty solid offensively. And of course, he had some help defensively from the likes of Tyson Hins, LaChapelle, who we just acquired earlier. And Julien Bourget was not only good offensively, but he was very good defensively as well. If I'm not mistaken, his defensive grade was actually higher than his offensive grade. So we definitely got ourselves a good player there, and hopefully Bourget and the rest of our new acquisitions can help us through these playoffs because we are definitely going to need it. Goyer, I'm going to need you at your best here, bud. A bit of a rough season, but you did manage to keep a 904 there. And since we have ourselves a head coach in Jeff Taylor, we obviously have no control over the lines. Even if I wanted to, there's only so much I can do as far as the lines or tactics go because that is completely under the control of Jeff Taylor. So I think for this video, we're just going to go through the entire playoffs and see how far we get. And since I'm hoping this is going to be a long video, we're just going to jump into elimination games. That's all we're going to do as far as viewing each game goes, because if we do go far in these playoffs, like I said, I hope we do, then that is going to be one long video. And as you all probably know, this series in general, like this whole YouTube series, is going to be a very long one. At least that's my prediction. So let's get right into it. Game number 1 against the Jakar in round number 1. And we have a 7-2 loss. Yikes. I mean, yeah, 35 shots to 24, 7-2. Goals by Gaudio and Matthew. That was a rough one. I mean, I believe the Jakar are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Eastern Conference. Yes, they are. They have 104 points on the season, so it is going to be tough to beat them for sure. But like I said, there's not really much that we can do from a Lions perspective, because that is all in the hands of Jeff Taylor. So we just have to hope that the coach can come through, that the Lions can come through. Bourget, I need you at your best. Goyer, I need you at your best. Unfortunately, that was not your best right there. Looks like he had a very rough game with that 37 grade, and it looks like Beijing actually got in there as well for a little bit. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Bourget had a very good time there either. I mean, to be fair, almost no one did. Cote and Berube were pretty solid defensively with the 83 and the 74. But besides them, not looking good so far. Obviously, that was only game 1, but you don't exactly like to see a 7-2 loss in the first game. And in game number 2, we have a 3-0 shutout loss. They only had 21 shots on net. We had 30. But still, we could pot no goals past their goaltender, Shingarov, who was the first star of the game. And game number 3, we have a 4-3 loss in overtime, I believe I saw. Yep. 44 shots to 30 in favor of the Jakar. And 3 stars of the game. Hins was the second star with a goal and an assist. So we did put up a fight, but unfortunately that overtime winner by Bryant Grant gets the Jakar the 3-0 series lead. I guess you kind of had to expect it, just given that these guys are one of the best teams in the league. But, I mean, come on, I want to see some fight here. I'm not really seeing that. Sure, last game was a close one, but besides that, not really much going on. And if we had won that overtime game, this is a different series. Potentially. But unfortunately, that is not the case, and we find ourselves in a huge hole. All right, here we go. Game number 4. I guess we're going into it, since this is indeed an elimination game. So here we go. First period now underway. And we have a goal from Vasily Shumilov from Julien Bourget. We are on the board here in game number 4. So a good start, but keep it going. And there is a goal for them off the stick of Suzdalev. We are tied at 1. And hopefully late in the period here, we can get a goal to have the lead go into the second. That'd be great. Nope. All right, that's fine. Oh, do we have a goal? Do we have a goal? Yes, we do. Dow, Sam Dow on defense, I believe, scores from Bourget and Drover. He makes it 2-1. Oh, do we have another one? Do we have another one? Yes, we do. Bourget, Julien Bourget scores from Shumilov and Dumoulin. So Shumilov being quite active offensively, as is Bourget, as he has a goal and 2 assists. Oh boy, we have another one here. Alex Drover from Langlaw and Gaudette. We are now up 4-1. Way to go, boys. Keep it going. I mean, I know we're down 3-0 in the series, but I haven't seen a game like this yet from us. So to see this against a team like the Jakar, it's pretty, I'm not going to say satisfying, because obviously we're not in a good situation right now, but it gives me hope. And there is another one, Luca Vero. I believe he is our captain from Jeremy Berube, and it is now a 5-1 game with roughly 5 minutes to go in the third. We look to have this one in the bag. And there's another goal for Vasily Shumilov, his second of the game on the back end from Gaudio and Tremblay. It is now a 6-1 game, and yeah, we have this one pretty much wrapped up here. And there is another goal, Noah Gaudette from Langlaw and Gaudio, 7-1. Maybe the final score, and yes, indeed it is. There you go. I mean, that is definitely our best playoff win to date. So once again, that game gave me hope. We're still down 3-1 though, so we do have quite the mountain to climb still. 3 stars of the game, Bourget, Goyer, and Shumilov. Them 3 were fantastic this game. 41 shots against to 31, so they outshot us, but we definitely converted on our chances. All right, so obviously game number 4, that was pretty good. 7-1 win. But we obviously have a long road ahead of us. We're not even out of round number 1 yet. So let's just take it one game at a time here. Going into game number 5, and we have a goal by Julien Bourget. He comes through once again. So we are up 1-0, and that'll do it for one. Only one goal there in the first period. Let's keep it that way heading into the second period here. Or preferably, get a goal ourselves. But unfortunately, Zachary Karist gets a goal for the Drakkar, and we are now tied at 1, roughly halfway through the second. We have a major injury for Anthony Lavoie, and unfortunately, Mathis Poulin gets a goal for the Drakkar, puts them up 2-1 halfway through the second period. And we are headed into the third period, 4-on-4 for the next 38 seconds. As of right now, things are in favor of the Drakkar. Halfway through the third, and Alexander David gets the goal for the Drakkar, putting them up 3-1. Not looking good. They get another goal, making it 4-1 with 2:41 remaining, and that is all she wrote for this series. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Besides the game 4, that was pretty bad overall. Yeah, shots were 24-13. We had 13 shots in that game. Oh, man. And we don't even know if Bourget is going to come back next year either. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's 19, right? Yeah, he's 19. So he may come back, he may not. I guess it depends on if an NHL team signs him or not. But even if he stays, I mean, look how much talent we're losing. We're losing Hins, who's one of our better defensive defensemen. Berube, who is also one of our better defensive defensemen. And you have Kostlik, who was second on our team in points this year. We're losing a lot of players. Yeah, this is going to be a completely different team next year, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Man, junior level teams are rough, man. They have it rough. they only get a few years worth of players until they have to move on to their next set of players, and it's just constant changes. All right, so let's take a look at the stats for these past playoffs. In 5 games played, Gaudio had 6 points. Bourget had 5 points. Everyone else, not as impressive. -7 for Shumalov, unfortunately, so he was out there more often than not getting scored on, but he also did contribute a bit offensively too with 3 points of his own, so I can't get too mad at him, but just all around not good. The grades, the best was Coty with a 71. Bourget had the highest for forwards with a 67. That's as expected. And now let's see goaltenders. Goyer with an 890 save percentage, and Beijing with 2 minutes played in 1 game and a 500 save percentage, as he only had 2 shots against, and he let up 1 of them. So, and that's another player we're losing over the offseason. Goyer, he's 20, so I don't think he's going to be able to come back after this season. So we're losing a lot of players. I think we're losing almost half our roster. I guess with all that being done, let's make our way to the offseason because, there's not really much else to do at this point for us. So the President's Cup champions for a second year in a row are once again the St. John's Sea Dogs. They sweep Victoriaville. And you know what? It looks like that trade that we did with Victoriaville earlier for Zachary Gravel actually worked out for them in a way, because they were not in a good spot prior to the trade deadline, and they made it all the way to the finals. Of course, they got swept, but you could say it worked out for them. And it definitely worked out for us as well, because we do have their first round pick for this season, although it's probably not going to be a good one since they obviously made the finals. But you know what? We do have 3 first round picks this year, so I am pretty satisfied with that trade. And the Memorial Cup goes to the Prince George Cougars over the St. John Sea Dogs. So St. John, once again, just comes up short in the Memorial Cup. I believe they lost to Medicine Hat last year. I mean, obviously they're great in the QMJHL, but they just for some reason cannot seem to get that Memorial Cup. So unfortunate for them. And here are the awards. For the John Beliveau Trophy, you have Cameron McDonald. For the Frank J. Selke Trophy, you have Julien Hebert. For the Humanitarian of the Year Award, you have Henry Wilson. For the Robert Lebel Trophy, you have Nicholas Ruccia. MVP goes to Cameron McDonald. Playoff MVP goes to Zach Bigger. The best rookie goes to Valtteri Morula. The best defenseman goes to Lucas Di Chiara. Best defensive forward is Jack Campbell. Best goalie is Francesco Lapena. Best GM is Pierre Roux. And the best coach is Jean-Francois Gregoire. All right, so Jeff Taylor does need to be re-signed. He does want a 1-year contract, so I think I'll give that to him. But do I want him back as our head coach is the question. Well, he's only been here for 1 year, so I may as well give him another chance. And as we compare him to the likes of St. John's coach, who obviously they won the QMJHL championship, Yannick Perreault, honestly, their coaching ratings, I think personally that our coach is better as far as their ratings go. I think Perreault has the coaching forwards on him, but that's about it, really. Otherwise, they have the same style of coaching. Like, they're both standard and then balanced for everything else. And Jeff Taylor's better at offensive skills, defensive skills, coaching prospects. I think like I said, I think the only thing he has on him is coaching forwards. So I think Jeff Taylor is absolutely going to be able to get it done, provided we can give him a solid roster. So let's give him one more season here. Now, giving coach a solid roster to work with is the part that I'm worried about, because we do have several players leaving the team this year due to being overage. Luckily, I think Bourget is going to come back next year, unless he gets drafted this year into the NHL, which he might, just given his performance from the past regular season, 68 points in 68 games. I would not be surprised if he does end up getting drafted. And if he does and he gets signed by an NHL team and stays there, that would not be, that would be a huge blow. And as we see, we do have Leland Pierce and Jonathan Lagasse on the roster now. They're both 1.5-star abilities, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to grow fast if we give them a good amount of time on the Rimouski roster. So I'm hoping that by the start of the season, they'll be at 2-star, and that they'll be able to play at least third or maybe even second line minutes, or who knows, maybe even first line minutes at some point, because like I said, this roster is going to be it's going to be looking very different from the way it is right now. So that being said, I'll end things off here. And in the next one, we'll go through the offseason of year number 2 with your Rimouski Oceanic. So remember to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.